I have multiple videos of the Stryde bike right here, but as I put those videos out, Stryde kept making changes that improved the user experience. So I figured it's time for a Where is Stryde at in 2022 top to bottom review. So let's go ahead and jump in. Now I'm going to kick this off by saying there are a lot of good bikes out there, and it's important to find one that matches your exercise personality. But when it comes to these bikes, Stryde is one of my favorites. So before we break this bike down, here are a few of the reasons why. First, as of filming this video, this bike is $1,495, and it can do things that bikes $1,000 more cannot. So when you do the calculation of determining how much you paid versus the value you're getting out of it, and if it's going to be worth it to you, this one is way up there. On top of that, they offered me a special $50 coupon code if you use my link and the code below, so check out my description and you'll make it even a little more affordable. Next is that it's unlocked. If you look at just about any other bike out there, it's locked, meaning that you can get to their user interface, their content, and that's it. It's not always a bad thing. A lot of times that experience is actually really nice, but sometimes you just want to use a product the way you want, or you want to do what they offer, use the Stryde platform, but still throw in some other things. Maybe you just feel like riding and doing a Netflix show or watching some YouTube. You can do this on this bike where you can't on others. So it does make it special because you're not so limited. Third, this bike can be whatever you want. Because you have the flexibility in it being unlocked, you can download and use whatever app you want. So you can use the Stryde app and their content. You want to use the Peloton Digital app, you can do that. You can use YouTube, you can do streaming services, you can find other options that are out there and match it to what you feel like that month. You are not locked into, this is only going to do this, I'm stuck with it this way. And you can kind of tweak it to what you want from a content perspective, but also from a money side. When you think of what Peloton just did, raising their monthly fee to $44 a month, if you buy a Peloton, which is a great experience, you're locked into paying a lot of money every month to keep that working the way it's supposed to. Where with this, if you want a month where you can just be cheap and just use YouTube on it, you could do that. Or you could use the Stryde platform, or you could do Peloton Digital. You control what you're gonna do from a content and money perspective, and that is something special. And last of my special items I wanted to point out right out of the gate is just the bike itself. Sometimes when companies put all their focus into one thing or doing something unique, in this case being unlocked and letting all those things work, they don't necessarily put attention to other areas. But in this case, it's still a very good bike. It's a very strong connected fitness bike that feels great under you. And you know you got something of high quality, so you don't feel like you sacrificed there to get something else. So that is really nice as well. But why don't we go ahead and break this thing down? To break down this bike, we're going to talk about the bike itself, the user interface, and the content. And we'll kick it off with the bike, and starting with resistance. Now, if I were to score this, I would give it a 9.5 out of 10. And when you compare against a bike like the Peloton Bike Plus that costs a lot more, you might be assuming when I say 9.5, I'm kind of saying it's a downgrade, it's a negative, but it's actually a compliment. Because a bike that is much less money can still hang with those and is very close, barely a step down. That is pretty impressive. You still get the range. You can go from very easy to hard with dialing it in ranges all between that. You can go to very hard resistances, and the overall resistance is pretty fluid. It works really well. It's a good bike under you. So from a resistance perspective, and this is one of those things you want to work really well, it is very close to some of those top of line bikes. So I think it's just a good end-to-end resistance bike. Next up is build quality. And I've had this bike for a while now. I'm 6'3", 220 pounds, so when I ride these things, I'm putting some force into them. I'm testing them pretty good, and they do have an opportunity to break because of someone being so big on them. This thing's still like the day I bought it. As far as build quality goes, everything about it screams high-end build quality. Nothing is showing any signs of wear and tear. It handles me just fine. It feels strong under me. It feels connected to the floor. There's no wobble, no feeling like it just wasn't situated right. It is just strong. So build quality wise, I'm very happy. Next up is the monitor, and everything about this has been great for me. The color, the quality, the sharpness, the placement, the responsiveness, everything about it has worked very well. I'm very happy with the monitor. No big negatives there. One knock you might be able to come up with on the Stryde bike is that the monitor is not on a swivel. So it is just a bike. And this is becoming a norm to have a swivel because it allows you to turn that monitor and use it for more than just a bike, getting more value out of your purchase. You can use it for off the bike content if you want to do strength training videos or stretching or yoga or meditation or whatever you want. You can do more than just a bike. There is more you're getting out of your purchase. So that could be a knock, but at the same time, there is a company, and I have a video on this, I'll link it down below in the description, that created an aftermarket part that turns it into a swivel. It's super easy to install. Getting ready to move on to the user interface and content, but first, if you're finding this beneficial in any way, the one thing you can do to help me out is hit that like button. I really appreciate it. And if you want to stay on top of all things cutting edge in the health and technology space, make sure you hit that subscribe button. But now, let's go to the user interface. User interface. So if you buy just about any other connected fitness device, it boots up and it goes into that platform. iFit, Peloton, Journey, whatever it is, and you are in that. That's what you use. Well, with the Stryde, it boots up and it goes into a Stryde interface. So you still have that experience. And if you don't want to exit that, you still want the end-to-end experience. Just, hey, give me what you give me, you can get that. And in the Stryde interface, you can do all sorts of things like you can with the other bikes. And it has that typical layout where you're going to see a home screen that has hot content, another screen where you can see all content filtered down, your ride history, your profile, things like that. You're gonna be able to go through and easily navigate those screens to get to what you want. It has a leaderboard, so you're gonna be able to compete and try to raise up different leaderboards based on different time intervals. So there's a lot going on, but it's very easy to use. And that's one thing that a lot of people want is don't give me something that I'm instantly gonna feel overwhelmed about. And this is not gonna do that. You can easily use it, jump in and be an expert right away. It's built that smooth. But unlike other connected fitness options, Stryde allows you to leave that user interface and just get back to the base Android tablet. Now, the one thing that might concern some people here is that it doesn't work like a typical Android, that you can't go to the Play Store or the App Store and just download it and start using it. You have to go through it a little bit different. Now, this might be overwhelming at first, but honestly, it's not that big of a deal. So let's pretend you want to download Peloton Digital. Well, instead of going to the Play Store and just downloading it, what you need to do is Google APK for Peloton app. And this will almost always provide you a link. You click that, you download it, you click install, and you got it. It's just a manual install instead of going through an app store that automates that. And it is not hard once you know how to do it and you just know what to search for. Second to that, there are apps that actually make the whole process easier. I'm going to create a whole end-to-end video about how to better use the Stryde, the end-to-end experience, and maximizing your experience with it. So if you'd like to see that, hit that subscribe button, but also let me know in the comments down below if you'd like that sooner than later so I know how important it is to the community. But to wrap up user interface, it's much like anybody else. It works great, it gets you to what you want and is very easy to use, but you can escape that, load whatever you want, and use it your way. Moving on to content, and every bike has their own content and it comes with their own vibe as far as how it makes you feel and the way it's presented. And this could be more of a clubbish, party type vibe, zen, studio, where it's more of a supportive, like here's the instructor, here's everybody around you, I'm talking to you, let's motivate each other, what have you. There's a lot of different options. Well, the nice thing with Stryde is that they actually get their content from different sources. They make their own, so you still get that original Stryde content where they've created and they have their own feel to it, but they also work with other studios to bring their content in. And so when you're filtering, you can actually filter by studio, and maybe you have a preference, but you can try different things and have different flavors instead of always kind of having that same base style or that base vibe. So it's nice, again, to have variety from the variety bike. So I do recommend trying out the Stryde content because they do a good job, and it also helps you support the company that you bought the bike from so they can continue to make it better. But the beauty of this bike is, as we've already discussed, is that you can do other things. So you download those different apps, use them the way you want. Go to youtube.com, you got all those resources available to you. There are just a lot of things, a lot of ways you can use this bike. So through all those different avenues, I'm just gonna say that this is the bike that you are not gonna get bored with. And I'll summarize this up by just saying that this is a bike that does so many things well. Something I didn't even mention is that the pedals are clip-in on one side, cage on the other. So everybody's supported, whether you have your casual users with just shoes or your true serious riders with clip-ins. Everybody's supported, and a lot of bikes don't come with pedals like that. The bike quality is fantastic. The resistance is very, very good. The screen that's attached to it works very well. And then they have a great platform where you can do all sorts of great content, but when you feel like switching up, you're gonna be able to do that, and you're not locked into just one thing. You're gonna be able to use this the way you want. So there are just so many things about the Stryde that make it special. Hello, Editor Travis jumping in real quick because I want to clarify one thing. Now, I talked about how you can leave the Stryde app and you can load other apps or go to youtube.com and just find different ways to use this bike. But one of the things that's magical is that you're never disconnected from the bike. It has a picture-in-picture mode. So you can take the Stryde Just Ride screen that shows you your cadence, your resistance, minimize that down to the corner and still see that no matter what other application you're in. So this allows you to still understand what you're doing while you're in other applications. So if you are trying to do a Peloton ride or a YouTube ride that someone has made or different things where you still need to know your stats or you just want to keep track of what you're doing because you don't want to get lazy, you want to kind of maybe maintain certain levels, you're always going to know that. That doesn't disappear once you leave the Stryde app. They keep that available for you. So that is one of the really nice features, is that that disconnect isn't there. You're always going to be in touch with what you're really doing. But I hope you found this helpful, and if you did, please hit that like button. It helps so much. And again, if you want to stay on top of everything cutting edge in health technology and when it comes out, when reviews are coming out, hit that subscribe button. But until next time, here's to a healthier you, and have a good one.